What is a red flag that most people are unable to see early on in a relationship or while dating? If they keep complaining about multiple exes. In those situations, they are the common factor. Should have seen it coming with my first girlfriend when she told me about the very long list of abusive exes she had. Guess what? I ended up on the list, and I'm pretty sure whoever she's dating now will too. Emotional distance. You need to be emotionally available for someone to be in a relationship with. I can't imagine being cold and uncaring if my partner is having a meltdown. I think an underlooked one is constantly needing to do something. It's like you're more concerned with the experience of a relationship than actually forming a connection. I think I have a friend like that. Her husband and her are always doing something, traveling together is the main goal of their life, and they are just in general the ideal couple from the outside. Suddenly, when lockdown came, they started to get on each other's nerves. Lockdown actually found them after a month-long honeymoon. They were newly married, so I would have thought it'd be a great time for them being together at home a lot. Well, nope, they struggle just being together, not doing anything exciting. Possessiveness tends to manifest itself later on in the relationship. Immediately pushing boundaries often means the person has no concept of bodily autonomy. My ex, who was staying with his parents while claiming to look for a house, got into a huge fight with his mom, called her a C***auntie, and got kicked out. We had been dating for 3 weeks and he expected me to house him. It's also noteworthy that he's 39. So many red flags. The constant need to know what you're doing or where you are. It's okay if it's just something they may ask from time to time for general conversation or to take interest in your life, but it becomes a problem if it's getting to the point where they're asking very frequently to an obsessive degree. To the point where it feels like they're just trying to track where you are at all times and monitor what you're doing. Another major red flag to me is if they always get upset whenever you don't respond to their call or message as soon as you get it, expecting you to basically have your phone on you at all times. A personal one from me is them not talking to you that much unless it's for favors or to borrow money. Being too clingy. Often these types of people are broken mentally and will often be manipulating, causing you to drive away friends and family. They also tend to be jealous and will accuse you of cheating and make you feel like shit every time you come home for having to leave them to go to work. Extreme clinginess. Seems cute at first, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with valuing time with your partner and spending as much time as possible with them. But if you're sacrificing time with your family and friends because they make you feel guilty for not being glued to their side 24/7, then there's a problem. Obsessive loyalty/submissiveness to their parents. It makes them look family-oriented at first, but if their parents say jump and their response is always how high without ever questioning it, you'll never be a priority to them and will never have the freedom to grow your own relationship with your spouse. Or if they never have anything nice to say/always talk shit about their friends. The first people any of us learn to love that aren't blood are our friends. If they're okay saying/doing awful things involving their friends, they'll do the same thing to you when the relationship evolves into a lifelong friendship, as all good ones do. Lack of respect towards you as a person. If they don't know how to be respectful in the early encounters, things are only going downhill from there. Can support this with a personal experience with an ex. He was secretly and slowly jerking off when we first had a video call, and I only found out after I said yes to being his girlfriend. He thought it was something funny to think back to. Relationship didn't last long after that. I felt unsafe. Jealousy. Especially of your friends who are the same gender as your partner. You think they'll outgrow it, but really they just let their anger fester and get angry with you for not being sensitive to their feelings. When someone hates all their exes. I mean, I never met someone who didn't. Leaving on good terms is a rarity after all. I think the broader aspect of constantly talking about your exes, period, is the true red flag. there is a difference between neutral/negative feelings toward most exes, and hating all of them. I feel that being close and super friendly with an ex is fairly rare, but being outright hostile is fairly rare too. If somebody has nothing but raw bitterness toward a whole string of exes, I'm inclined to think they're the problem. Except people confuse apathy for hate in these situations, often. I don't give a single fuck about any of my exes. If I saw them on the street, I'd outright ignore any and all of them. Not because I hate them, but because I can't physically or mentally muster enough energy to give even the tiniest fuck about anything that has to do with them. People think that attitude towards someone is bitterness, when it's just reality. Trying to take over your best friend, visiting them without you, confiding in them, telling them one-sided stuff about your relationship. They are making sure you don't have a support system. My ex did this with my mother. Texted and messaged her, suddenly had the same hobbies as her, so they hung out sometimes. I told him I didn't like it, and he made it seem like she was the one saying hello all the time and inviting him to go fishing or whatever. It's hardly noticeable on its own, but it is one of the things I can now identify as unsettling when I look back and see it in the context of everything that was going on. Like, I swear he was trying to get me pregnant while I was between jobs and to get me to move to his hometown where I knew no one. Someone agreeing with all you say when starting to get to know them. Oh really? It's my hobby too. Yes, I told everyone before, these are the best flowers, right? I always wanted to travel to Italy too. I see it like you, blah blah. If this happens with everything you mention, the person, in my opinion, is trying to manipulate you from the beginning. Telling you exactly what you want to hear to lure you in, trying to be charismatic and make you trust them so they can find your weak spots. It's common for narcissists, for example. Basically, when starting a new relationship, always wait at least a year before making any big decisions like moving in together, leaving your job, getting pregnant, etc. People can pretend to be the perfect person for a while, and you're so full of love chemicals in the beginning that you're often blind to their faults. See that person through a whole year and you'll have a much better chance of seeing who they really are. This one usually doesn't show up in the very early stages, but if your partner's family doesn't like you and your partner says they have no idea why, chances are high it's because your partner vents about you to their family, so your negative qualities are all they know about you. My bipolar ex-girlfriend told me early on that it took a long time for her to get away from her ex. I brushed it off at the time, but I now know I should not have. She was probably still with him, and telling him everything is fine, when she started fucking and dating me. Then she did the same thing to me. To my ex-boyfriend, I'm sorry, I didn't know. To Brittany, you're an atrocious human being. This might seem backwards, but honestly, anyone I know, even just outside of dating, who is overly enthusiastic when talking about being their best self and having big goals and speaking it into existence like they're at a TED Talk, is probably talking like that to cover up the fact they got nothing going on, and all those guys I've been with that go on that like have cheated on me. Possessiveness, jealousy, being really scary. They start out charming, fun to talk to, compliment, lay it on thick. Then slowly they start to want to see you a lot, then they demand it, they manipulate you into seeing them again. Gaslighting you away from your own time in order to see them. Love bombing. No one can fall in love with you in 2 days, trust me. They can, however, be in love with the idea of you liking them more by mirroring your behavior and showering you with compliments. Take a step back, tell them that, hey, that's cool and all, but you do not and cannot possibly love me. You don't even know me. My ex called herself a pathological liar and told me she would never lie to me, and cried to me multiple times over the phone begging me not to leave when I told her to chill out and I'm not going anywhere. I was a bit naive since she had never really hurt me at that point. Keeping relationship secret. Actually hiding it from his/her friend to the point no knows. Crazy family. The downside of not meeting close relatives, particularly kids, until you're somewhat invested is that regardless of how great your so is, their family has the ability to ruin things. I wasn't around my so's mom enough to figure out she was racist until we were married. Fortunately for me, he agreed we need to cut contact, but what if he hadn't? If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and subscribe if you are interested in more Reddit content. See you in next video.